Hello all. Welcome to the weekly review of the market. Um, we'll start with some S&P and the QQQ ETFs, and then we'll look at some of the play of the weeks that I did, and then I will also reveal one of my best swing plays coming up for next week. So let's start with S&P. As you can see, S&P had a nice week ending, but let's just look at some charts here. So we had a nice pullback a couple weeks back to the 200 SMA. Okay, and then we rallied up and we came down to the resistance of 273. It kind of got stuck there. Friday, then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we kind of like bull flagged here and held on to the 270 to support, and then 273 was holding up pretty well for last 4 days. And then finally yesterday we broke out. And we broke out and we closed at the high of the day yesterday. So there's a possibility that we continue this next week. So the next resistance that I see on this S&P is right at the 280 mark. 280 we should be easily able to get to 280, in next week in next week or so, and then having some kind of pullback or some kind of resistance at 280. And once you break that 280, we going up. And probably test the new all-time highs. But 280 is definitely something to keep an eye on. If we can break out from this 273 on or 275-ish on Monday or Tuesday, 280 is the next stop. So that's something to look at on this buy. But we had a nice close on Friday. Low volume though. RSI is still oversold, and MACD is kind of curling up over here. So definitely something to keep an eye on. But yeah, good close on Friday. QQQ, techs have been on a nice run. Apple had a nice run. Amazon has been killing it. So let's look at some QQQs. Now, I had mentioned this on Wednesday and Thursday in my chat room that 170 was looking good on Qs, but 163 might test. Well, we didn't really test 163, which is great, But let's look at the chart. So let's remove this thing and look at the charts real quick. So QQQ, once every single day this week, from last Friday, then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, every day we had a little sell-off at the close. There were profit takers on the Qs. Qs closed red every single day here, but yesterday we ran. We had a nice rally yesterday on the QQQ. We actually closed right at the resistance on the QQQs on yesterday, around this 168.15, 168.17 close. So yeah, but RSI is still in the 50 range, which is perfect for a nice run up. MACD is nicely curled up, and a little more volume than the S&P yesterday. Facebook did really good. Amazon did really good yesterday. So I feel like 170 is coming up next week, and then most likely we go up and test the new highs here. But definitely something to keep an eye on. I like it. The Q's plays here. So keep an eye on QQQ. Nice candle yesterday. Now we're going to look at some plays that I did this week. So one of the plays was Adobe. This was called perfectly to the dot on Thursday. Actually, I looked up on Wednesday, bought on Thursday, sold on Friday. Now let's look at Adobe. Here, 204 right here was the last, highs back in January. Then we had a little bit of a pullback, came down to the 50 fib line, tested it. We also had a sell-off, but it held down to that 50 SMA pretty nicely. And then we had a nice rally back up to over 200. Now over here, you can see that, last Friday, then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 204 was holding up, just not able to break it but you knew that, you could feel it, that breakout is coming any day. It's just trying, and then yesterday, finally, we had a good market, and, just a nice candle. I sold around like 207, and it kept rallying up, but definitely a great play. I was happy with this call very much. Other one that we did was Caterpillar. I sold this one a day earlier, than I wanted to, but again, it was a green trade, no regrets. You can see Caterpillar, 173 was a nice resistance. We had a nice sell-off. I missed this dip around this 143, as I should have kept an eye on this one. But I got some. I got some on Tuesday. I bought the 160 calls for April, and I had time on those. But I was green, and I wanted to just take my greens. In this market, you never know; it can turn any time. So I was just trying to take my greens and move on with it. So yesterday, though, you can see on Tuesday had a sell-off, was up and had a sell-off at 158. So this was holding up. It held up here, then it held up here, it held up here. Then on Thursday, it finally broke out, and I should have held on to my calls once it broke from 158, but I kind of want to take my profits. And then finally, yesterday, we had a nice rally, 162.14, up almost $3.50. About the 50 SMA, I think we're going to cross over here soon and probably test the 173 soon. But I think the next resistance line on here would be around somewhere around 166. It's going to have a little bit of a pullback, but definitely a strong looking chart here. So keep an eye on this one, but I might look to get back in. The other one we bought in yesterday was Lockheed. Just something small. I like the chart, so I'm gonna mention it, but I'm gonna remove this drawings. I want to show you all what I saw and why I bought it. So let's look at Lockheed. Once 363 was a high, all-time highs after earnings, had a nice run, kept going, nice bullish chart. And then we had a pullback, so we tested the 50 SMA, we got above it, great. 344 was a nice support here, held on to it, a few times. And then we rallied back up to 363 on last Friday. Then we got stuck here on Friday, we got stuck here on Tuesday, Wednesday, then Thursday we'll have a sell-off. And then finally on Friday we had a hammer, a nice reversal hammer. And what I saw besides the hammer was this bull flag. Usually when you see that and you see this breakout, I expect this to go up. I expect 370 next week. It's a fast mover. It moves like $5-6 a day. I picked some $360 calls for April. They were cheap, like $3. I'm green on those trade right now. I will look to sell around 365 and 370 next week. So that's my next play right now. I'm already in, so I will not suggest to get in right now. But definitely it was a good call on Thursday. On Friday, right at the bottom around like 355, we got in. So that's a good call. And the next play that I'm about to reveal for next week could be a swing play. It is a swing play. So look at JP Morgan. This is my next play, and I'm going to explain to you why I'm going to buy this and what I'm looking at it. So let's remove these drawings. Yep. Now let's look at JP Morgan. 117. Been a strong resistance, whether it's up here in this area. It's been holding it, and we had a nice sell-off candle here, and when we took a nice dip and during the correction, came to 106. Held down to the 50 at 50 percent fib line, got back up. Then from last week, we see on Wednesday, Thursday, trying but not able to get going, and finally on Friday we had a nice run, and we closed at the highs of the day. So right here is where I am eyeing it for a next move, and I see 123 next week, 120 plus. Let's put it that way. 120 plus next week can easily happen here if you have a good market. So when I suggest buying these things, you buying it on your own risk. I'm buying $120 calls for April. They are 230 by 240, so not too pricey. You're buying at your own risk, but my price target on this is 123 in a week or two. So that's about it for today, guys. Thank you for watching, and I'll do these videos once a week. Try to give you a market review and a swing trade for a week. So JP Morgan, keep an eye on this, put on your watch list for next week. All right, thank you for watching.